Microphones up. Okay, guys, good evening, YouTube, and welcome to episode 47 of the FPL family. My name is Lee, this is Sam. That felt like a long 2 weeks, didn't it? Well, it felt like a long couple of weeks.
It does feel like a while since we've done this, but at the same time, it also feels like I've done nothing but think about FPL for 2 weeks.
Well, I tell you, it's been nothing but 2 weeks of jealousy here in the FPL family household, because I'm sitting here, no wildcard, I've had to be on Twitter, I'm joining in with a chat on FPL Boss and with FPL Prince and all the other guys that are on YouTube right now. I'm joining with all the chat and everyone's going, I'm wildcarding this player, wildcarding that player, I'm getting this guy out, that guy out, and I'm sitting there going, oh, no wildcard. And I kind of made one transfer early, and we'll come to that in a bit, and I've made a second transfer now just the other day. Missed out potentially on a bit of a price rise, probably could have done it a couple of weeks ago, but I couldn't afford to get it wrong. It had to be the right sort of transfers because I didn't have a wild card. But how's your 2 weeks gone? You've been tinkering like a good one, haven't you?
There's been
players in, players out.
There's been players have done the hokey cokey a lot over the last 10 days.
You haven't done what some people have done on Twitter, by the way. Some very experienced FPL players, and you know who you are, you guys, FPL players on Twitter that I know. And they've got, so they've had players in their team for a long time, and they've taken them out on the wild card, had a tinker, and then thought, I want to get that player back in, and they've lost 0.1, 0.2 all of a sudden, can't get the player back, and they've had to compromise and get some other player.
No, that's not happened. No, so we can go through my wildcard team in a little while. You can see them.
Oh, I've got the wrong screen up. I normally start with Twitter up there, but I've already got your team up there. We're going to launch straight into it. Straight in. No, we need to hide that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about them in a minute. But we are.
Here we go. Twitter.
Yeah, I've had. There's been some ins, there's been some outs, there's been some. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Get them back in again. But they've not been players that have been in my team previously. They've been players that I've made some transfers and then kind of thought, actually, I'm not sure I did the right thing with that one. I'm going to swap them back again. But actually, because so many people on a wildcard, the markets have actually been fairly stable with people not really rising and falling that much.
Well, did you notice first couple of days it kind of went up and down because I think people like me, probably without on a wildcard, were like, oh, I've got to get a Aubameyang and I've got to get Mahrez and I've got to get this and that. So the markets were a bit in flux for a couple of days, and then they just completely steadied out. Where all the wildcarders were just like, well,
so for me,
like now.
That's worked massively in my favour over the last couple of weeks because it's meant that I've had the opportunity to get players in, look at my team for a while, go, actually, I'm still not sure about you. Yeah, you can go out. So it's been quite nice, but at the same time, I've got to a point with them now where I'm almost a bit annoyed with them.
Are you happy with the team?
No, not really. No.
So you're still not finalised?
I'm still not. No.
Oh man.
There's still 2 players in there that I'm pondering on. I'm mostly set now.
I love the notes again, by the way. The notes are immense. Look at these notes. I actually spilled a bit of tea on them as I was bringing in the tea a minute ago. Look at the notes. That's quite incredible stuff. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, put it down. But incredible stuff.
I think
not quite as incredible as some of the spreadsheets on Twitter. Oh, some of the spreadsheets are out of this world. I mean, I work with spreadsheets for a living, and I've seen some pretty good spreadsheets. But you guys have surpassed yourselves on Twitter, not least the likes of Ben Krellin. I mean, we promoted his Twitter account on the last vlog, and you guys definitely need to go and check out Ben. Now that we know where the fixtures lie, he's got the most amazing table. Oh, it's really good.
For the 34 and supposed 37 doubles.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful to me in terms of thinking about who I was getting. So there are a couple of people at the moment that I'm still not 100% set on.
All right, we'll come to that in a bit. We've got to obviously say hello to a few people. Thank you for joining. I think as I was kicking off the stream, I think it was saying like there's 20 or 25 people already joined. So thank you for joining.
Goodness.
I want to shout out a couple of people before we even come to the in-laws and talk about who's in the stream. A very, very congratulatory, if that's the right word, I think it is, congratulatory. That's a word, right? That's a word. Yeah. If it's not, I've just made it up. Congratulatory shout out to El Stato. Chris Payne had a baby.
Oh.
I think last week or maybe early this week.
Oh, so he's not. I didn't know about this.
Oh, it's because you're not on Twitter. We say it every week.
Was it a boy or a girl?
I actually don't know the details.
Have they called it Little Sam?
See, this is the difference in the FPL family household. You would have got into name,
I'd like
weight,
to know how much it weighs.
What's the mum's name, boy or girl? I was just like,
have they named it after me?
I'm pretty sure he's more likely to have called it Mo or Riyadh or Romelu. So congratulations to El Stato. Congratulations, Chris. That is awesome. Awesome
actually,
news.
bigger congratulations to his wife.
Well, congratulations to all three of them. I don't think it's his first. I think he mentioned second. I think so. That's
second babies are brilliant.
Congratulations to all four of you.
Second one's the best.
And be very interested to see if he joins in with the chat. Then we'll give you a congratulations.
We should have come on at like 2:30 in the morning when he'd been up doing a night feed.
God,
then he'd be on.
Well, I think someone said that to him on Twitter because he then come out. He said, we've had the second baby, so I've been a bit quiet on Twitter. Sorry about that. And everyone was like, no, that's a very good reason for being quiet on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then people were saying, well, look forward to a tweet at, 2:30 in the morning,
Yeah,
4:30 in the morning, in the dead zone,
Yeah.
So congratulations to Chris. Another shout out, it's not celebratory, but I want to do it, is to Andy Golf Pro. So Andy joins in with these streams quite regularly. Forwarded me loads and loads of codes for the Panini sticker album.
Honestly, Andy,
I love the Panini sticker album.
You should have seen his face. He was like...
I was doing the Panini sticker album, for those of you that don't collect it, back when I was a kid, that was the thing to collect. It was awesome. 80p a pack they are nowadays.
Are they really?
80p a pack for 5 stickers.
You're outraged by that.
Absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
It's like Freddo Frogs, isn't it?
So forget that. I'm not doing
Inflation
80p a pack. So I'm now doing the online version.
Particularly as our little one don't stick them in straight and Leah's a fit.
My OCD kicks in. If he put Mo Salah at a slight angle, I'd be gutted. So I'm now doing the online one. Andy sent me loads of codes, and Max and I have had a great time, haven't we, putting those in. So that's brilliant. So a couple of good shout outs there. Oh, there's Andy in the stream. You're welcome. Sent me a load more codes yesterday, by the way. So.
Andy, you made his life. Literally, you made his life. I think he was more excited about that than when I said I'd marry him.
So that's Andy and that's El Stato. Thank you to you guys. Let's see who else is in the chat tonight. So thank you for joining. We've got 48 watchers already, so that is awesome. While I say hello to people, you figure out what we're going to do in this stream. Because this stream, normally we would use this stream to go through the fixtures.
I'll tell you what we're not going to do.
Go on.
I'm not going to touch the computer.
Oh God, that was funny last time, wasn't it? That was quite funny. That provided a little bit of hilarity to the in-laws.
I'm not going to... Just to be clear, I'm not some kind of ridiculous technophobe. I can use a computer.
You're not a ridiculous technophobe.
I can't use the YouTube software, clearly.
Well, to be fair to you, you're a Mac user by trade, aren't you? So as soon as you go Windows, it's a bit like, ooh. So no, you are absolutely going nowhere near the technology tonight. I've lost my train of thought. You've got to decide what's going on in this stream, because we normally talk about, and the title of this stream is obviously Game Week 32 and a preview, and we're going to look ahead to what's going to happen at the weekend. Do we want to look back at the international break?
No.
I don't think we really do.
Nothing really
England
happens.
are going to win the World Cup. That's the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think we look ahead to 32, but there's so much strategic thinking going on in the community right now.
I think we
much
should...
wildcard, non-wildcard thinking. When are you going to play the chips? I think we need to look ahead to 32, but almost that becomes a side issue because there's so much strategic thinking to do.
I think we should do a quick flit at 32 first. Get it done.
Get it done.
And then we
There's
can
some
talk...
big fixtures though. Some potentially
good...
good...
Spurs and Chelsea this weekend.
Absolutely.
And then we can look at transfers and wildcards. We can talk about 34. We can talk about 35 briefly. And we can talk about... a little bit about 37. Sure. I think we're going to have to, because actually all of those three key game weeks have been, well, actually not so much 35 because I've got my free hit, but 34 and 37 have massively influenced what I've done with my wildcard, obviously. So it's impossible to talk about my wildcard without talking about those two game weeks.
And actually we were all absolutely talking about bench boost 34. That was going to be the game week where, we piled in on lots of, the top team assets, get a bench boost going and just smash the 100-point mark. Now that I think a couple of games are not in there, including Arsenal, which we were looking at for a double in 34, I think it's to be decided where that game goes.
And it will go in 37 probably with all these other ones.
Well, I think Arsenal have already got a double in 37, I think, but we'll come to that in a minute. So. No, they're not? Okay, no. Well, so either way, 34 was going to be the big bench boost, and I think 37 was the triple captain. And we all sat here and we said, well, that's our plan, right? That's the plan. Wild card, bench boost, free hit, triple captain 37, probably Kane, or if we're feeling jammy at Man City because they got a nice double in 37. That's all gone out, well, not all gone out the window, but I'm starting to see lots of different strategies now. Lots of different ways of thinking of playing the chip, so it's not quite as straightforward as we thought, which, in my opinion, is ace for the game. It's brilliant for the game, because what happens normally at this stage of the season? Oh, everyone's got the template. And we're kind of meandering towards the end of the season, and you have to really go uber differential to bump yourself up the league. This is where, and they've only been in sort of 2 or 3 years, this is where the chips have really added to the game, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like the chips, I get that, but And some of them are better than others, right? But I really like the chips because it is so much strategic thinking on Twitter about these chips. It's unbelievable. Brilliant.
This year, the swapping of all out attack for the free hit chip has been a stroke of genius, really, by the makers of the game. Because the all out,
a great shout.
Yeah, because the all out attack chip, in principle, sounds great, but actually, in reality, it didn't work very well. Whereas this free hit chip, suddenly you're like, I don't have to worry about this huge blank game week that's coming up in 35.
Absolutely.
I don't have to fret about it because I'll just free hit and it's done.
Well, some people are considering using that out not in game week 35.
Well, I know some people are talking about using it for 37 and getting a team prepared for 35.
Right?
So that you can have all 15 players play twice, which I can see the value in, but then I also think, what kind of team are you having 35? So are you just
listen? We're already 15 minutes in. We've already covered some strategy, and we haven't said hello to people, so we must say hello to people. So here we go. Let's see who's on. So
Jamal was first in. I saw.
I think so. Jamal is pretty quick on the draw, isn't he? To be fair, pretty quick on the draw. So I think he was first in. Some others in. So Joe's in. Joe Finley Baddo's in. Thank you for joining, Joe. Who have Watford got the weekend? They're home, aren't they?
Oh, my jammy pick comes from Watford this week. Joe will be pleased.
Who have they got, Watford? We've got to see
Leicester.
No.
They've got...
Should know this, shouldn't we? Watford versus Bournemouth. So there's goals there for Watford. There's goals for Watford in that game, Joe, I predict. Josh is in. Josh Richardson. Thanks for joining. James Brady's in. Thanks for joining, James. Michelle is here. Thanks for joining, Michelle. Anne Winnett, a regular on these streams. Anne Winnett, thank you for joining once again. Jeff is here, and Jeff says, do the polls, guys. Absolutely right. We shall come to that in a minute, Jeff.
I have already nudged him about polls, Jeff. Don't worry.
Remembered,
Between you and I, we'll remember.
Vinyl Rich is here. Richard is here. Thanks for joining, Richard. Super Tiger, who I think is a new name.
I haven't had
Super Tiger in before, so thank you for joining, Super Tiger. Dom J is here as usual. Thanks for joining, John.
That was hard for you to say, wasn't it?
Thanks for joining, John. Yeah, you know what I mean. Andy Golf Pro, he of Panini Sticker Album Legend, is in. Thanks for joining, Andy. Spencer's here. Aurora F, I think a new name to the stream. Thanks for joining, Aurora. Alex Quintella's here. Guys, you are all in tonight. This is awesome. FPL Physio's here. David Isaac is here. David, who is, last time we looked, flying. Absolutely flying. Really well. So we're going to check out the FPL Family League in a bit as well, if we've got some time. Marcin Duda is here. Marcin, thank you for joining. Another new name, I think. I've heard you on the stream before. Shikrant is in, so thanks for joining, Shikrant. Ricardo, oh my goodness, loads of people. Loads and loads of people. So good evening. Good evening to all of you guys. Thank you for joining. And I'm sure you've had just as much fun tinkering with your wildcards over the last couple of weeks as you have.
Or just as much pain, in your case.
Or just as much pain. Just as much jealousy watching all the rest of you guys tinker with your team for 2 weeks. It's been very, very annoying. Right, so where do we start? We've got to do the polls. Let's do the polls. Very easy polls tonight, guys. Have a look in the...
You've not just done have you done your wild card, have you?
No. So up here, I think, top...
Oh, no, here we go.
Yeah, don't start that again, Spencer. Here we go. Up in the top right-hand corner of your screen, a couple of questions. One, you only need to answer one of the two, right? So if you're a wildcarder, how do you feel? And there's 4 options. And if you're a non-wildcarder, how do you feel? So the point of putting those polls in was just to get a feel. How are people thinking?
How do you feel?
As a non-wildcarder, I feel a bit nervous. I'll be honest, I feel a bit nervous. But I tell you what is interesting. What is interesting is that I'll stroke my non-existent beard and tell you what's interesting. What's interesting is that I think there's a bit of a more than a bit of a template forming, especially across that midfield. I think there's some favourites in that forward line, but there's some interesting picks in there. There's a few differentials, but in that midfield, the Salahs, the Mahrezes, the Sons, the Willians, the people like that, the Grosses, maybe not so much Gross. There's a nice template form in there. That is not a bad template. If you're in the top 1k, top 10k, and you want to consolidate where you are, and I was talking to Mike Gascoigne about this earlier on Twitter, he who is in, I think, the top 5 of the FPL Family League. He was saying he's in the top 1k, of course, because he's in the top of the FPL Family League, wants to consolidate, doesn't want too many differentials. Perfect. You want to go template as best you can. For me, I'm miles behind. I'm chasing. I'm not on a wild card. I've suddenly got a very non-template looking team. I've got Callum Wilson. Very much looking forward to getting rid of Callum at some stage. I've got Eriksen, for example. I've kept Sterling. A lot of people get rid of Sterling. I'm keeping Firmino. A lot of people getting rid of Firmino. And not because I necessarily want those players, but unless I want to take 8, 12-point hits, I'm kind of resigned to keeping those players. So suddenly, I'm not feeling too bad about not having wild cards. I feel like I've got some differentials there, which I need.
Eriksen, I mean, Eriksen is a massive differential because everyone's got Sonny, you're right. But Eriksen, you wouldn't swap him, would you? Spurs
Well, no, I
got
mean,
double,
this is the thing. I mean, Ericsson to Son, if I was on a wild card, yeah, probably.
Well, it's saving some money.
But, yeah, mainly, but obviously Son's in the false nine potentially with Kane out. Although
Yeah,
it
but how long's Kane out for?
looks like Kane could be out. We've got to cover that in a minute. I mean, he's come out and said he could play some part in the Chelsea game, which is absolutely outrageous.
Oh, I love that, man.
So, if you're going to go for Son, do you go Ericsson to Son? No, you don't. I don't think so. It's too sideways. Not for a -4, right? And we've already seen in your last game, I can't remember in what competition that was, where Ericsson got a couple of goals. Was it the Cup? FA Cup, right?
Yeah.
Son played in the false nine. Ericsson had licence to go forward, scored a couple of goals, had a fantastic game.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of hoping that repeats itself, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I'm feeling. Check out the polls. If you're a wildcarder, let us know how you're feeling. If you're a non-wildcarder, let us know, and we'll have a look at the end. If someone reminds me, because let's face it, I will forget.
Look, I'll write here.
Polls in big capital letters. Polls. Beautiful. Right, where do we want to start? Do you want to start with game week 32?
I think we should, because otherwise I think what will happen is we'll get caught up in talking about 34, 35, 37
and strategy,
and we'll never actually talk about the games of 32.
So go on then, let's have a very quick look through the fixtures for this game week. So where am I going to find them? I'm going to find them
under fixtures,
unsurprisingly, under the tab that says fixtures. So hopefully you guys can see that. That's going to come through in the OBS in a sec. So where do you want to start? Let's not go through each and every one of those, but I'm kind of interested to hear your thoughts on where the key FPL points are. We've got to do jammy picks as well at some stage. We're going to do top points picks. Why don't we start with that game, Palace versus Liverpool? Because in a lot of wildcards, I've seen a lot of people getting out Liverpool players because of them not having a double game week.
Yeah.
Maybe this is me and my red goggles talking, but although they haven't got a double game week, I think the Liverpool game in that week, in 34, is Bournemouth at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be as good as a double game week, could it not? So keeping a Firmino and a Robertson or a Van Dijk, of course you're going to keep Salah regardless. And Palace away, I think it's Everton away after that, Bournemouth at home. These are nice fixtures and people are getting rid of Firmino. I can't believe it. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was just getting them up on my... Because of all the notes I've made, I've not written down the fixtures.
This is all strategic.
Because it's all strategic.
Notes,
and I just looked over there and thought...
Have you even looked at the fixtures?
Yeah, I have. I have.
Who are you playing at the weekend without looking?
Chelsea.
Oh yeah, of course, Chelsea.
But I just looked over at the screen and thought, I can't read them. This is a problem. I've not got my glasses.
So go on then, Palace versus Liverpool, Saturday lunchtime kickoff.
But I think everything you've just said is right. So I actually still have 3 Liverpool players. I now have 3 different Liverpool players. Well, I have one different one to what I started the game with.
I was just about to say, you can't possibly have 3 different Liverpool players and got rid of Salah, but go on.
Oh, no.
So you've got rid of Firmino and Van Dijk then?
No, I've not got rid of Firmino yet.
Have you not? Okay, go on then, talk us through.
So at the moment I've kept Salah and Firmino because, like you've just said, well, Salah is Salah. You're never going to get rid of him. Firmino, I look at Firmino and I look at that Liverpool team, and you've got a lot to play for at the moment in terms of the top 4. So you're going to be playing your best teams. I know you've got the Champions League still to play, but the league is going to be a priority as well. So you're not going to.
I'd be very careful with that statement.
But you're not going to be dropping players left, right, and centre.
No, but I'd be very careful with that statement. And one of the bases on which people are getting rid of Firmino is that all these nice fixtures that we just discussed are all in and around the 2 Champions League ties. And I don't think you can come out and say we're going to prioritise the league. Well, I can see what will happen is he'll probably start Firmino against Palace. If we're even if we're a goal up, 1, 2, 3 goals up, you'd like to hope, obviously as a Liverpool fan, maybe not Jamal's hoping, sorry Jamal, then he's going to drag Firmino off, you'd think. He's going to drag Mane off. He's probably going to rest Salah, right? Because you've got that Man City game. So that's why people are taking out Firmino. Because of his, he's going to play an hour rather than 90 minutes.
See, I don't know. I think there's more chance of him dragging Salah off than there is dragging Firmino off.
I just don't think that's true. I just don't, because Firmino is the one that puts the work in. Salah works incredibly hard, but he is naturally a very fit player.
Well, for me, at the moment, and one of the key driving forces behind not getting rid of Firmino is I've had Firmino in my team now since the beginning of the season.
Okay. So it's going to cost you a bit of money. So you're more or less waving goodbye to him for the year, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
so if I take Firmino out, I'm basically saying that he's gone for the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
Now, for me, as a fantasy owner, I look at him and I just can't quite bring myself to do it because there is every possibility, like you've just said, that Liverpool can score as many goals in one game as other teams scoring too.
Okay.
So I don't have enough. So I think it would be somewhat different if I had enough money to do Firmino to say Lukaku.
Okay.
Then perhaps I would think about it differently, because United have got those 2 game weeks on doubles. The games that they've got in those 2 doubles are nice. So at that point, I might think about it differently. But at the moment, I stand to lose so much from taking Firmino out that I haven't done it. But I have swapped Van Dijk for Robertson. Because
okay. Well, let's see what the guys are saying about Firmino first and foremost. So Dom J is saying Firmino gone. Firmino's gone for him. So Dom, are you saying goodbye to him for the season? He has a lot of money invested in him. Is that him gone now for the year?
It depends when you've got him in as well, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying. So Ings may get some game time. So Akshay is saying that. It looks as if a couple of the other guys are saying that. He kind of likes Ings, I think. Ings plays a very similar game. He's like a poor man's Firmino, literally. He does run in between the lines. He does create space. He works hard. He puts a shift in a way that Daniel Sturridge never did, hence the move to West Brom. I still don't think he fancies Solanke that much. I think if I had to say, as a Liverpool fan, who would get the game time, I think I'll go with you guys. I think Ings might get a start against... Would Ings get a start against Everton? Blimey. Merseyside derby. You've got to go with your full-strength team,
Is that the game before...
That's the game in the middle of the Champions League.
In the middle of the Champions League.
And you've got to assume that Champions League is not going to be... It's at Anfield, the first leg, I believe.
Well, you've got to win that game.
Well, yeah, but it's not like we're going to be... we're not going to beat City 3 or 4-0 and then he's going to, be able to rest players in the second.
No,
You're just not going to be able to do that, are you? So
no.
I think, I'm with you guys. I think Ings might get a shout there in the Everton game. Or at the very least, Firmino is going to start and then get dragged off, especially if we need goals going into the Etihad. So lots and lots of uncertainty about the Liverpool players, as well as not having a double game week, means, I think, that a lot of people are getting out there.
The other thing is that you've in all of this nonsense about 34, 37 and the like, I've also got to keep in mind 32 and 33, and Liverpool fixtures are nice. The 32 and 33.
I think you've hit on a very good point there. A lot of people are obviously playing the wild card, looking ahead to 34 and what the strategy going forward is. Don't forget, there's some really nice fixtures.
You've got 2 game weeks for Liverpool with lovely fixtures.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jamal. Liverpool should beat Palace. Forget who you've got in 33. But again,
Everton, isn't it?
Is it
Palace away, Everton away, and then it's Bournemouth.
And I would expect Liverpool to beat Everton. And so I'm looking at those fixtures and thinking, there should be some nice Liverpool points in there. So for me, I'm going to hold Firmino for a little while. And it might be that I decide actually I've done the wrong thing. But then if I decide I've done the wrong thing, I'm still going to have transfers that I can make between now and 34 when the doubles come up. So that's
FPL Physio is making a very good point there. So we're talking about Liverpool's fixtures being nice. So are Leicester's. Let's not forget. And Jamie Vardy is an excellent pick.
Well, I've already got Vardy.
Okay.
So,
on what basis did you bring Vardy and why did you bring him in?
Do you want to know the actual truth, or should I make up
something
that
ridiculous?
Makes me sound intelligent.
No, sound intelligent. Go on, the intelligent option.
Oh, I've got to make something up then.
No, go on, tell us the truth.
So basically, what happened was I wasn't going to get Vardy. I was going to get Mahrez.
Right.
And I was going to come out of my wild card with Firmino, Aubameyang, and Murray at Brighton.
Yeah, sure, good pick.
And that was my plan. I had that plan for ages. Mahrez instead. Then I had a little panic because I looked at Brighton's fixtures and thought, Palace, yeah, okay, fine. Spurs in the double, okay. And then the double in 37, United and City.
You're looking that far ahead?
Yeah, because I have to, don't I? Because I have to forward plan enough with my substitutions. Okay. And I thought, not sure about that.
Brighton look very good in the short term. Longer term, not so good. They have a very, very tricky long-term run-in.
So then I thought, right, actually, what I would rather do is have 3 decent strikers going into game week 32 because, as we all well know, my plan ultimately is to free up money for Kane. So Vardy works nicely because I can just downgrade him from one of the cheaper strikers to upgrade Aubameyang to Kane.
Okay.
So that's where I went. Plus, I did it spare of the moment because Vardy was going to go up. Vardy was going to go up, and Mahrez wasn't. And so I thought, right, well, I'll swap Murray for Vardy, just in case and then if I decided actually I'd rather have Mahrez, it's fine because I could just swap them out again.
Okay, all right.
That's where we are.
All right. Nice point by FPL Prince. So thanks for joining FPL Prince.
We watched his video.
Yeah, so for you guys that haven't checked out FPL Prince on Twitter yet, I think it's at FPL Prince. Put your handle in the live chat.
FPL Prince.
It is, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you know that? You're not even on Twitter. How do you know that?
Because we watched his video together yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's at the FPL Prince on Twitter, so go and follow him. Just done the first YouTube
He had a
video.
nice pot on his kitchen
Very,
stove.
very good, yeah. I was giving, so I was like, really nice video, nice clear, you know, the way that he's talking, far more professional than what we're doing. You were like, got a very tidy kitchen, don't you? His kitchen looks really nice. I was like, oh my god,
really nice
that's
pot.
such a sad thing to say. He had a nice pot on his stove. So good, guys, go and check him
The FPL
out.
Prince has got a really nice kitchen.
Go and check him out. Don't worry about the kitchen. Check him out for his FPL content. Very, very good. So hopefully we're going to see more videos from the FPL Prince. Very good point that he's making in the live stream here. One key point with Vardy is that he's going to be trying to get that starting place in the World Cup. So he obviously scored a nice goal against Italy the other night.
He scored a lovely goal.
Nice goal. In fact, it was
Should
very
have had a
good.
couple, actually.
Very nice and good thinking by Jay Lings, who is another player I want to talk about in a little while.
I would like to talk about Lingard.
Dare we go back there again? But it was good thinking on a free kick. Nice finish from Vardy against Italy. Not ruled out by VAR, which is nice. Looking for a place in Gareth Southgate's England team. So, do you get him in on that basis? Is he going to want to perform to secure that spot on the plane? He's going to want to, isn't he? Surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
Okay, all right, that's easy. I think that's a good point. Absolutely spot on. So that's the Palace Liverpool game. I don't think there's too many. So one of the things we said on the last vlog was, you know, not so many Palace players are internationals, so they'll be, and they've tweeted this week, Palace, saying, oh, we're getting ready for the Liverpool game, and there's a whole squad there training, right? Whereas Liverpool players, a lot of them are coming back from international duty. I don't think there's too many players that had to travel a long way. I did actually, would you believe, made some notes about
this. This is amazing, right? So Lee comes in the other night and he's like, I've made some notes for our next video. And I was like, no, you haven't. And he was like, yeah, I have, look.
I made some notes. So Egypt are coming back from Zurich. So Salah hasn't got a long way to go. And I don't think he played in that game. I think he was rested or played a very little part in that game. So Salah should be, despite the flight back from Zurich, and it's only Germany, a couple of hours flight, right? He should be reasonably fresh for that Palace game. Should be in good shape. Germany played Brazil in Berlin, and I think they lost 1-0. Brazil won 1-0. It was Jesus scored the goal. This kid is going to be great, by the way. Oh, he's one to watch for next season. Obviously a good FPL asset, potentially for the run-in, if you guys are looking for a bit of a differential. Who knows what Man City are going to do once they win the league. This kid is unbelievable, Jesus. He had a fantastic game the other night. I think he's a nailed-on asset in FPL next year. Let's see. That's for a few future vlogs.
You've got your crystal ball out, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like him. I think he's class. So Germany lost 1-0 to Brazil in Berlin. Again, not a long flight for the Brazilian stuff to come back. I actually don't know whether Firmino played much in that game, but even if he did, it's not a long flight, so there's not much to worry about. So Liverpool assets against Palace. The worry that we had was they're coming back from international duty. They won't have played. They won't have trained for very long, and that is true. They only have a couple of days training, and then bang, they're straight in an early morning trip down to Crystal Palace on Saturday morning, or more likely have travelled down on Friday and lost a day's training. So not a lot of preparation for that Palace game. I don't know whether that affects your thoughts about Liverpool assets. Does it affect you're thinking about the captaincy, which again we'll come to towards the end of the vlog. But I'd like to think Liverpool's away form is good enough to beat Palace at home. But we shall see. We shall see. Let's move on. Brighton versus Leicester is a game I want to talk about. So let's talk about Brighton versus Leicester. You've bought in Jamie Vardy. You expecting returns at the Annex?
Well, he better.
He better now. You bought him in, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I was as Prince was talking about a minute ago, I was really impressed with Vardy on Tuesday evening. I thought he played really well. I thought he was unlucky actually not to have a couple of more goals. He had a sitter that he missed before he scored the first. I'm expecting returns from him. I think so. It's a little bit of a cover myself as well, having Vardy in, to be honest. Okay. If I'm really being truthful.
Why is it just a cover? Because you haven't got Mahrez, or?
Well, no, just because Leicester's fixtures are nice, both the doubles. So Burnley,
because he's a popular wildcard.
Yeah, Burnley and Southampton and West Ham and Arsenal. They're both nice double game weeks where there's plenty of goals out there for Leicester players. If they're going to be goals, you'd think that they would come from Vardy.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because and Ammonit is saying this in the live chat. Absolutely, a very, very good point. Vardy's record against the bottom sides is not great. He tends to thrive against the bigger sides. However, I will caveat that because although Brighton are down there, they're in the relegation fight. There's no doubt about it. They are a bit different, Brighton. They do like to go forward. They do like to attack.
They do like to play.
And on that basis, they are a bit leaky. So I wonder whether that might play to Vardy's advantage. I think he's on penalties as well for Leicester, so clearly that's an advantage. I see goals in that game. It'd be 0-0 now, right, because I've called it. But I see goals in that game because I see Brighton wanting to go forward. I see Leicester hitting them on the counter-attack as they like to do. I absolutely see points in that game for Vardy, and I see points for Mahrez because I think Mahrez is on fire right now. His away form looks very, very good. He's on free kicks, a lot of set pieces. So if you've got one of those two assets in, I think they're good to have.
I've also got Chilwell now.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah. Again, because Leicester have got nice doubles and they've got nice fixtures when they're not playing a double. So yeah, so I've gone double Leicester.
Okay, and so one of my transfers in, and I'll come to what I've done. I think I've mentioned on the last vlog I was thinking of Aubameyang. I did do that in the end. And then
you've
Arsenal,
done that actually.
So I had done it. I think on the vlog. So
yeah.
I'd done Kane out to Aubameyang on the basis that I thought next two fixtures for Arsenal look very good, as well as they're going to have the double in 34. It then transpires they don't have the double in 34. However, I still feel okay about having Aubameyang. The next two look very, very good, and he's a bit of a, he's like the bank. If I want to upgrade to Lukaku in 34, that's a reasonably easy thing to do with Aubameyang sitting there. However, my other transfer is Mahrez. I've got Mahrez. So I did Shaqiri to Mahrez.
So have you now got 3 Leicester players then? Because you've got Chilwell, haven't you?
Chilwell and Mahrez I've got, yeah.
Oh, you've not got Vardy, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't got Vardy, so that's a nice differential between us. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in that game. I think if I had a wild card, I think I'd be looking actually to potentially move Chilwell out for hopefully an upgrade to Maguire or maybe somebody else in that price bracket. I'm not sure Chilwell is.
It's a tough one because I really wanted, as you well know, I really wanted Maguire, and I can't quite make the money work to get Maguire because I also wanted De Gea, and it's so tough.
Yeah, okay. So FPL Physio is saying Puel hinted at rotation big time, so that'd be interesting to see. I didn't spot that, so
did he?
It'd be interesting to see what he's actually said there. I'm not sure what they'd be rotating for. I don't know. But either way, if there's some rotation there, then let's hope it's not Mahrez or Vardy, because there'll be some very unhappy fantasy managers. From a Brighton perspective, have you gone for Murray? Did I hear that you're saying Murray in your side?
I swapped Murray out for Vardy.
So you did have Murray, you've now got Vardy.
Yeah, but I have at the moment got Gooood. Go on. Is Quarrido. Is that right?
Should we just put Murray back in your team?
Yeah, that would be so much better, wouldn't it?
Izquierdo, I think you say. Yeah, Izquierdo. Go on.
Izquierdo.
So what's your thinking behind Izquierdo? Very good pick, by the way. Very good pick, I think.
Do you think so?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I don't know about him. He's one I'm really, really wavering on. I'm just really not sure about.
I think he's nice jammy pick territory for this game week. And I think, like we've said before, Brighton's fixtures in the short term look good. I don't know if you'd want him for maybe 36 onwards, especially that 2 Man City games, but at Man City and Man United, even then, even in those 2 tricky fixtures, if City put out a B team because they've won the league, he can do some damage. He's had, I haven't seen the stats, but I remember reading on Twitter he's had lots of shots on target, maybe in the top 2 in midfielders in the last couple of game weeks. So he's taken a lot of shots. He's getting forward. I've called him out on these vlogs before as a nice little differential. I doubt if he's over 5% owned. I like him. I think he's a good pick.
I don't know. He's one that I'm still wavering on because really I would like I'd like more United players, and I can't quite work out how to get them in my team or which one. And I had a long chat with a few of you on Instagram about United. I did a bit of a plea to the United fans for some help earlier on in the week. Is Cuerdo? Is that right? Is it?
Just leave it there.
This bloke.
Yeah, not Murray.
Not Murray.
Pascal Gross. You didn't have a look at Pascal Gross in the same sort of bracket? He's a very popular pick.
He's 0.1 more. But it kind of come back to what you said earlier. Like, I'm at 70,000 and I'd really not like to be at 70,000. Like, given that most of this season I've been about the 40,000
So you fancy him as a little bit of a differential over Gross?
I just kind of feel like I need something different. And so he's in there at the moment. We'll see. Okay,
all right, very, very good. So let's see what you guys are saying. So Amonit is saying, great pick, Sam. He's got great attacking option, Izquierdo. Very, very good. Jamal Rice, so Andy Carroll's going to score a hat-trick. Not sure about that, Jamal, not sure. But who are we to argue with the great Jamal Rice? He could well pop up and get an Andy Carroll hat-trick. Jeff is saying, Sam's desperately seeking players called Smith. Because it'd be far easier.
You're right, Jeff, I am.
You need to get Lewis Cook in and Adam Smith. That's who you need.
Yeah, I mean, most of my team have got names I can actually pronounce. Probably for that very reason.
What about this one?
Millie.
I was good. I expect you to say the full version,
No,
but yeah, we're
just
going
Millie.
with Millie. We're going with Millie. Super Tiger is saying, care to share your current wildcard side, Sam? Yes, absolutely. We will do
We'll pop it
that
up in a
towards
minute.
the end. It's not finalised.
It's not
as
finalised,
far as,
no.
as far as you're saying.
There's still some problems with it.
Okay, Tom Mason is saying, thanks for joining, Tom. Gross is
Tom! Are we talking to Tom this week?
Is he
said
an
he was going to
Instagram
try and
follower?
join us live.
Very good, very good.
He's not made it on live yet. He watches us on replay most.
Very
Hello,
good.
Tom.
So, Tom, you are very welcome, sir. Gross for me, safe from rotation. Okay, all right.
Just
I think
point
he
one
is.
more.
I think he is, but I also think that Izquierdo is. I think he's looking pretty hot at the minute. So that's Brighton and Leicester. We are taking far too long on these games, so let's pick a couple more out.
Tottenham and Chelsea, or Chelsea and Tottenham.
Go on then. I'll talk about that game because that's an interesting one, isn't it? I've got a feeling that's going to be tight. But go on. What are you thinking about it? Neither will want to lose. Neither can really afford to lose, can they? I don't think Chelsea can afford to lose.
No, I think that's right. I don't think either of us can afford to lose. I don't think we can either. I think it's going to be a tough game. So for me, there's a few interesting things from a fantasy point of view with Spurs. There's the is Kane going to be fit saga.
And what is it exactly he's come out and said? He said that he may play some part in the game. So
no, I don't.
That suggests
Pochettino
bench to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, Pochettino is not a manager to risk a player. If he's not fit, he will not play a part in that game. Even against Chelsea, he won't play.
Come on, Poch has come out loads of times
if
and said, someone's ill and they're not really ill.
If he's a risk, if he's still not fully fit, because we've got important things coming up with the cup and everything else, so he will not risk Kane if he's not fully fit.
I'll go with you on that.
Now, I've been watching Kane obviously quite a lot over the last 10 days.
Yeah.
And all of the photographs of him are of him moving freely, wearing proper footwear, no boot, no strapping, nothing. And
didn't Southgate come out during the England training, during the England camp, and say he was a bit vague, wasn't he? But I can't remember the exact comment. Something, words to the effect of, you need to check with the Spurs physio team, but it doesn't look like he's going to be out for very long. Words to that effect.
Well, that's
it's
because
kind of positive words from Southgate.
England have been training at Hotspur Way.
Have they?
Yeah, and Kane is obviously there for his rehabilitation. So there was loads of photographs of Kane laughing and joking around with Southgate, and loads of people commenting on the picture saying he was saying, about who are you going to get to replace me if I'm not fit for Russia, and taking the mick. But yeah, for the England Spurs players, it's been great. They've not actually had to go anywhere.
So let's talk more about the game though, because Kane may or may not play. Let's talk about the FPL assets that we know are going to play.
So then you've got the key ones. Obviously, there's Son. He's going to play. Probably in a false nine again if Kane's not going to play. But then there's a few other assets from Spurs that are interesting. There's the defensive ones. Because actually, if you look at Spurs, there's 2 double game weeks coming up. Particularly the second one, West Brom and Newcastle. Really nice fixtures there.
Definitely.
And even in the first one, Man City, okay, that's tough. But Brighton...
But Man City could have won the league by then.
They could have won the league by the time we play them. So, and obviously they'll be mid-Champions League sagas.
Is that the
just
game
after?
between?
It's the game just after the Champions League.
Okay.
So we'll depend.
So they'll be out the Champions League by then.
So they'll be out the Champions League by then. So probably they'll play a full-strength team against us because they won't have anything else to play for.
Well, United could beat them in that game in between the Champions League. They might, because if you're Pep, you've got all these. They're so far ahead. You could put a B team out in that Manchester derby. You'd get slated in the press, wouldn't he? You'd get slated.
And by the fans.
But United could win that game. But on the bottom,
you just want him to win the league against us? Is that what you're saying?
No, listen. So what I'm saying is, United win that game, but he's got a fresh and fit team, not a fish team, a fresh and fit team for the second leg at the Etihad. And then obviously the Spurs game. Even if he loses the Spurs game and they have back-to-back league defeats for the first time since whenever, he's still got 6 games to win the league. It's no big deal.
I think what my point is that there's quite a few Spurs assets out there that are of interest. Now, the problem you've got with Spurs defence is that given that we're still in the FA Cup, there will be rotation in that Spurs defence. There will be. Trippier and Aurier, Rose and Davis, they'll get rotated. Vertonghen, Lloris, they're probably your only 2 options that are definitely going to play.
Is Toby Alderweireld back?
Right. Now, Toby is where I was going with this conversation. So he's apparently being carefully rested and played minimal games for us since he's been back from injury.
Okay.
Basically,
so
this is
code. This
is basic code for he hasn't signed a new contract and they're having a problem.
Right, okay.
Because he went away with Belgium and played both games.
And hasn't he got a nice release clause? I remember seeing that he can go for like 40 million or something, and like we're interested and a few other teams are interested.
Can get on your bike, you.
Hey, him and Van Dijk would be very welcome at Anfield next year. Very welcome.
Look, you have to pay a lot more money than
Go on then, quickly on Spurs. Finish up on Spurs.
But he played 2 games for Belgium this week. Played both all 90 minutes.
Yeah, Super Tiger is saying that Toby played for Belgium, so he's available. Okay.
So he is. So now it'd be really interesting to see whether we see Toby again this game week. Because if we see Toby against Chelsea, I think we've got a really good chance of winning that game.
So I put a tweet out there a few days ago that said, if you're going for a Spurs defender in your wild card, or even if you're not on a wild card, but you are going for a Spurs defender, which seems like a very sensible thing to do you go for the risky fullbacks that can get double figure points but they're rotation risks, but they are explosive, as we've seen with Ben Davies? Or do you kind of play it safe with a Vertonghen or a Sanchez maybe, or a Lloris? I mean, for me, I'm on Ben Davies, not necessarily through choice, but again, no wild card, so I'm kind of resigned to holding him. But I say resigned, I'm happy I've got him. Again, bit of a differential for me right now, because a lot of people are playing it safe with the wild card and going for Tongan, I think.
I think of all of them, Davis is the one that is more likely to play the league games.
Yeah, the other side is a lottery, isn't it? Trippier
and Aurier, they're more of a lottery. I think what we'll see is Davis playing in the league, and Rose will play the cup.
Okay, very good. And Chelsea assets then. So
a lot
of people.
Another thing, isn't it?
So tell me about a lot of people are in the chat now talking about what we're doing with, or what people are doing with Alonso.
Right.
Have you kept Alonso in your wild card?
Yes, at the moment.
I think you absolutely have to, don't you?
Oh yes, I feel like I've got this far with him that I have to stick with it now. But at the same time, I look at that 7.1 million and think, my goodness, I could spend that.
Oh, and actually,
really
so
use that
just before
elsewhere.
you carry on, Vinyl Richie said very, very good point. Go and listen to the last podcast from the boys at Who Got the Assist. They had some excellent arguments for going Azpilicueta over Alonso. So I think there's about 0.3 in it, maybe 0.4. So there's not exactly a lot to pick between them price-wise. But they had some really nice stats and some nice arguments for going Dave over Alonso. But you've stuck with Alonso, right?
Well, for now I have. But the more I think about it, and this is one of my dilemmas I'm still having with my wildcard, because he's so expensive and he's taking up so much of my budget that actually I could, if I
You'd lose a lot of money on him, wouldn't you?
He's worth 7.1 to me. I'm not sure how much he's in the game at the moment.
He's more than that, yeah.
Somebody can tell me. But to me, he's worth 7.1. But if I downgraded him to somebody else who's got double fixtures in those 2 game weeks, in the, say, 5.5 region, that's nearly 2 million.
So Engerturk is saying, is Christensen okay to risk at 5.3? So you save a bit of money by doing Christensen rather than Alonso. I personally am never going back to Christensen. Even if he's a 5 million defender next year, I'm not touching him with a barge pole after he trolled me. The biggest troll you've ever seen in your life this year, Christensen. For he had 6s and 7s for 8 weeks, and I got him in, and then he got injured on 59, rested, came on for 20 minutes, and then got a blank. I'm never going near him again.
He was
However, if you're not quite as emotional as me, is Christensen a good pick at 5.3 as an alternative? If you're going for the Chelsea back line and you haven't got 7.5 million for Alonso or for a Dave, 5.3. I think he'll start,
so.
Right? If he's fit.
I think so. I think so. Okay. And it's something to ponder. It's something I'm certainly pondering on, because if I did that swap, I could then have Lukaku.
Okay.
And that feels quite nice.
Feels nice having
Plus,
Lukaku. We've got to come to him as well.
It also leaves me $1 million in the bank, which Lukaku with $1 million on top, that's Kane.
Okay, all right. So we're kind of going through the fixtures and talking wildcard strategy at the same time here. So we're kind of blending this whole thing together, which is how I thought it would go.
The other thing I want to talk about with Chelsea just very quickly is Willian as an asset.
Oh, yes, good point. So what do you think? Have you got Willian?
Not
You're drafting him in?
And he's another one that I'm still pondering on, because
Very popular pick, Willian.
But what really worries me with Willian is he going to play both games in a double?
There's always that risk, isn't there? There's always that risk. And actually, I've seen on Twitter and on Fantasy Football Scout, if you look at some of the head-to-heads with Hazard and Willian, not only does Willian come out on top of a lot of those stats, but of course, he is, 3.5 cheaper?
He's 7.
So money-wise, it's a no-brainer. And I don't think Hazard gives you 3.5 million extra value.
No.
However, Hazard is guaranteed to play, and he's on free kicks, and maybe not free kicks with Alonso, but penalties, right? Whereas Willian can easily get swapped out for a Pedro.
And that's my issue.
And that's so annoying, isn't it?
And that's my issue with Willian, because actually, I look at Chelsea and yes, they have some nice fixtures coming up, but actually, I don't really trust Chelsea at the moment. They've not been on great form this season.
Yeah,
it's been a bit of a funny season for them. I think there are better options out there than Willian.
So Jerome Hughes is saying surely the top four is more important to Chelsea in the FA Cup right now. Surely they must be focusing on the league. I think that's a good point from Jerome.
Well, I should think so. I think so, yes. I think so. But I just worry that what will happen is if I get Willian, that in those double game weeks he'll play one game and he won't play the other because he'll play Pedro. Or...
I can't believe that he drops in. Willian is in such good form. Has he been their best player this year? Arguable, isn't it? But he's got to be up there, isn't he? Do
you know, there's just that element of doubt with him, you know?
Okay, I get that. All right, so Chelsea Spurs done. Let's talk about, so you've mentioned Lukaku, very, very key figure in this whole kind of wildcard strategy and the whole everything that's going on. Very, very nice couple of fixtures in 34. Looks, if you're not going to bench boost in 34, looks, dare I say it, a nice triple captain option maybe in 34.
Yeah, West Brom and Bournemouth.
Seems to be hitting form just at the right time. Did he score for Belgium the other night as well? I think he might have done. So he just seems to be hitting form right now. They've got a home game against Swansea, which looks a real plum tie. I don't really fancy much else in United. We'll come to De Gea in a minute because I think De Gea has got to be nailed on. I don't fancy a Sanchez or a Mata or a Rashford or Jay Lings. I quite like the look of Jay Lings. I'm looking at him too. But Lukaku, if you're going for an attacking asset at United, Lukaku has to be the one, surely. What's your thoughts on Lukaku?
Well, I totally agree. And this is where I put my plea out to the United fans of Instagram the other day, because ideally what I wanted was a United midfielder. Somebody who'd
you have?
Well, and this was my issue. So what I really wanted is to use one of my midfield spots for a United player, because I was going to go De Gea anyway. So I thought I'm covered with the defence. That's fine.
You're going De Gea? Just quick.
Yes,
10 seconds on De Gea.
Yeah.
I think he's absolutely essential.
He's far too expensive, but I'm doing it anyway because I need to.
I think he is 5'9". He's going to get clean sheets from now until whenever, right? He's going to get 12 points in 34. I think De Gea's nailed on. I'm thinking about taking a -4 for him this game week. So for a goalkeeper, that is how my season's going. But go on, Lukaku.
What I would really like is to have a United player sit in my middle, but there just isn't one. Like
no, there isn't.
There's just not one.
Not one that you would hang your hat on.
There's Young because he's a midfielder in the game, but there's not one there. There's Mata, but there's nobody in there that I think. Yeah, you.
And you certainly can't place any of your chips on Pogba right now.
No.
I mean, this is what is going on there, right?
He would be the one of all the midfielders. He would be the only one actually that I would fancy, but I can't guarantee he's going to play the way things are going.
So current wildcard draft. Let's have a quick look at this because we haven't changed the screen over it for a bit. So just for the sake of variety, I'm going to have a look at your team and answer my own question as to whether you've got Lukaku or not. So
no,
you haven't right now.
No.
Talk me through have you got a Lukaku plan? Are you thinking about Lukaku?
Well, yeah, I do. Well, yeah. So I've got there's two ways of playing it. There is the downgrade Alonso route.
Okay, yeah. And free up some money.
And free up some money.
Yeah.
Because that will free up about 2 million. By doing that means I can upgrade Aubameyang to Lukaku. Don't feel that bad about losing Aubameyang because I'm...
Because he's Arsenal?
Well, no, because I've got Mustafi.
Because Mustafi covers Aubameyang?
Well, no, but because I've got an Arsenal player for their double, so that doesn't worry me too much.
Okay.
But I also think that United's fixtures are better than Arsenal's.
Okay.
At least for the short term, anyway. So I don't feel too bad about swapping out Aubameyang. I mean, but that would allow me to get Lukaku.
Okay. So Andy Golf Pro is saying Lukaku is rising in price tonight.
Oh, great. Thanks, Andy.
That's for a little cat amongst the pigeons. Also, Jerome Hughes is saying that's so satisfying that you're on 72,000 exactly.
I know.
That's quite like an
nice
OCD satisfying thing. So a few of you are making some good points about United, and I'm sure there's a few United fans on. MU Fan TV is here. So MU Fan TV, thank you for joining.
Please help.
Rick Powell is saying, thanks for joining, Rick Powell. United can be poor one day and brilliant the next. And this is a good point, isn't it, to make this? So a lot of people getting on Lukaku either now or have got a plan to get him in 34 because you just can't ignore that double in 34 and kind of not have him. Bar an injury, I think he's nailed on, isn't he? You've got to have him. But United under Mourinho this year are very unpredictable. It's very difficult to know what they're going to do, and they're hardly in sort of red hot form and smashing teams 3 or 4-0 like Liverpool and City do. So if you do get Lukaku and you captain him game week 34 and he has those 2 nice fixtures, who's to say he gets a goal and assist? Salah plays Bournemouth at home, he gets hat-trick, and he's a single game week. So that's my point about Lukaku, is I think that I will have him for 34, and I've got a plan to do a Aubameyang to Lukaku. That is what I'm thinking. But if you're ignoring Lukaku, it's brave, but I can see it.
It's really hard, because I just look at the United fixtures and I look at those 2 double game weeks. And it hurts my head to not have a United outfield player.
You have to, don't you, I think?
It really hurts my head. And then, so I've spent so much time thinking about it. So my other option was to downgrade one of my midfielders. So the guy that's name I can't pronounce, potentially.
Izquierdo.
But there's nobody a million cheaper than him that I would fancy.
So what is Izquierdo's price?
5.9.
So 4.9, what are you thinking? You're looking at...
Well, I'd have 5, so it would leave me with Kante at Chelsea. I'm not sure about that.
What about Andy King?
It would leave me with players like Ndidi at Leicester. Don't fancy that, really. I don't know what King is. No, I didn't know.
He's in that sort of bracket, isn't he?
But there's nobody really that
what about Key from Swansea? He's about 5'1", 5'2".
Yeah, but I don't... I'm talking about taking out a double game weeker for some nonsense.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's that, or my other midfielder that is at risk, really, I guess now, is Sterling. And that seems bonkers to me, to lose a City player. But I'm thinking about taking Sterling out, downgrading him.
Well, listen, we've talked a little bit about Lukaku there and what the strategy might be. We're going to come to Man City in a second and how they're going to, what is Pep going to do over the next few weeks. We're going to come to that in a minute. But I just want a quick shout out to Felix and to FPL Prince, both saying Kennedy for your player there. 4.8 for Newcastle. Kennedy. Nice little pick, guys. I like that. That's not a bad little shout. Bad little shout. So let's talk about Manchester City then. I need to go back to fixtures. We'll come back to your team. We've got 5 minutes left. I've got a feeling we're going to overrun a little bit.
We always overrun.
But we're going to try and wrap this up reasonably soon, because we've got to do polls, we've got to do captains, jammy picks, transfer.
Oh, gosh.
So, Man City away at Everton. I'm not expecting Everton to cause them too much problems. A lot of people getting off of Man City.
Well, and so this is another reason I quite fancy keeping Sterling, because I think he's quite a bit of a differential now. Yeah, everyone seems to have ditched him in their wild card.
But no double for Man City, I don't believe, in 34.
No, 37 probably. Huddersfield and Brighton.
That's miles away there, but 34, no double. Single game week.
Single game week. But so I just don't know. So I've still got Sterling. Have
you got Otamendi?
No, I haven't had Otamendi for a while now.
Oh, you got rid of him, didn't you? Yeah. Scored in the internationals, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored. Yeah, but he got loads of points, didn't he, after I got rid of him?
Yeah. Actually, Spain smashed Argentina, didn't they? Something like 5 or 6-1. But the Otamendi goal, David De Gea made actually a bit of a flap. I don't know if you saw it, but it kind of went through his hands.
It's costing me a lot of money. You better not cause any flaps.
We don't want any of that, David De Gea. We don't want any of that big Dave at the weekend. We want some saves. Right?
Yeah.
So Otamendi did score, but nevertheless, you're not on him anymore. City assets that you're on, Sterling.
Just Sterling.
Only. Yeah, me too. And I sort of feel okay about that, don't you?
Well, yeah, and I feel uncomfortable not having any City players in my team.
I do too, but again, we come back to this thing about, they've got the Champions League, so the possible rotation around the Champions League. We know Pep loves a rotate, although we've covered that's a bit of a myth before, but nevertheless, they've got the squad to be able to rotate should he want to around the Champions League. They are miles ahead in the league. They're going to got 2 wins away from winning it, so the mentality potentially is focused in the short term at least on that Champions League, on those 2 Champions League games against Liverpool. So once they have won the league as well, once it is in the bag, and I expect them to beat Everton, I expect them to beat United actually, because I think they will, despite what all the players are saying, they will want to win that league at Old Trafford. I'm telling you right now, they've got an opportunity to win the league at Old Trafford. You're going to take it. So I expect them to win the league at Old Trafford. Once that league is in the bag and the second Liverpool game is out of the way, what's then Pep's mentality, do you think? Does he go in with B teams all over the place? Or, as I read on Twitter just earlier today, is Pep the sort of manager that goes, right, we're going to smash it. We're going to be Premier League record point scorers and just keep playing the way he's playing?
I think so. Why rest?
Well, for the Champions League semi-final potentially,
Yeah, but so the Champions League semi-final is going to come up quicker than... So they're going to win the league around the same time as the the Champions League semi-finals. So I don't see anybody getting a rest until after game week 33. Now, after game week 33, the Champions League semi-final will be done. So they will either have the Champions League final or nothing.
Okay, all right.
And at that point, I think if it's nothing, then surely you play full-strength teams right till the end of the season.
I think you do. Yeah, I think you do. But there's some nice differentials in that team. So Bernardo Silva could come into it. Jesus is surely going to come into it. You know, because he's going to want to get these guys match fit and firing for the World Cup. Jesus is going to want to play. He's going to be knocking on Pep's door saying, play me, boss. I want to be fit and firing for that.
And this was going to be my next point. So if they have got a Champions League final, what I think you might see is a couple of rests towards the end of the season. But most of these players have got to go to the World Cup. They are going to want to be playing and being match fit for the World Cup. They're not going to want to sit on a bench.
Totally right. Looks like I got it wrong, by the way. It looks like actually that game is at the Etihad. There's a few United fans. Prashant, I know you're on, and he's a Man United fan. He's taking great pleasure in correcting me there that actually that game is at the Etihad. Nevertheless, Prashant, I still expect City to beat your boys at the Etihad and win the league. I think Pep's mentality will be, let's just carry on to the end of the season. I think he will.
Because of all of those factors, I've kept Sterling so far, but I keep looking at him as this, and it's weird that I'm looking at a City player like this, but I'm looking at him as the one that maybe could lose his place because he's not got a double, and it seems bonkers, but that is where I am.
We're getting blinded by the doubles. We've had double game weeks before in FPL in seasons gone past where it's been a real anticlimax. And look at the teams that have got a single, Liverpool and Man City. Those are the two teams that, they have the most free scoring teams in the league right now, have been all year. So to ignore them and pile onto someone like United, who, very, very good side, very, very good FPL assets, but perhaps don't smash teams that big and don't have FPL players that get double digit hauls every week. Is that a risk? I don't know.
Well, see, and then it takes me back to this whole, I'm at 72,000, exactly, as we can all see. And so because of that, having been 30,000 points higher pretty much whole season, I'm on a bit of I need these players that are in everybody's team.
I get it, yeah.
So Sterling, for me, seems to be a good one to keep at the moment. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah.
So Prashant is now saying, thanks for joining in with this chat, Prashant. He's saying Mourinho's going to pull the bus out and pull a classic 0-0, spoil the party.
That's all right. De Gea get me a clean sheet.
Okay, De Gea a clean sheet. We'd be happy with that, Prashant. We'd probably take that. I think we'd probably take that.
Me and Prashant need to have a conversation. He used to come and talk to me about United in my panics.
At FPLFamily on Instagram.
Yeah, come over and talk to me.
There you go.
And in fact, any United fan or Chelsea fan for that matter, I'll have a chat with you.
Take anybody on Instagram.
No, just United and Chelsea out. They're the ones. They're my pondering point.
All right, so we are getting hideously over time here. I don't want to talk about too many other games. Let's just very, very quickly talk about Arsenal versus Stoke and also Arsenal versus Southampton. So the next two games for Arsenal look very, very good indeed. Are they going to be prioritising the Europa League? I think we know the answer to that.
Who priorises the Europa League?
A team that's outside the top four that wants to win it.
Oh yeah, that's
to get into the Champions League.
Arsenal
and actually, if you look at the teams that are left in the Europa League, I fancy Arsenal for that.
Oh, don't say that.
I do. I've got a feeling that Arsenal could go all the way in that.
To be fair, they did do very well against Milan.
And I think, looking at the league, and forgive me, Gunners fans, I think they're not expecting top four now. I think that is gone. So
bit like Wenger.
They've got to prioritise. Well, careful with that one. I think they've got to prioritise Europa League. I think they've got every chance in that competition. So because of that, from an FPL perspective, Ramsey becomes a risk. Mkhitaryan becomes a risk. All the players potentially become a risk, except for Mr. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, surely, because he cannot play in Europe. So that's why I think we're all looking to get him in. You got him in, Aubameyang? Okay, yeah. Absolutely. So I think he's a very good pick. The only caveat I would say to that is that Lacazette is coming back too. I think he's back in training.
Oh, well, he was brilliant earlier on in the season.
Well, so the point that was made on Twitter or the point that I read on Twitter earlier was that, so they're going to need Lacazette in the Europa League, right? They're going to need him because they haven't got Aubameyang. So you can't realistically expect Lacazette to go and hit the ground running in the Europa League straight away. He's got to get some match fitness from somewhere. So again, does this come back to the Firmino argument, which is, well, Aubameyang starts presumably in the league. They conceivably are 2-3-0 up against Stoke after 30 minutes, after an hour 70 minutes. Does he give Lacazette half an hour or 20 minutes to bring him up to match speed a little bit?
Yeah, but if they're 2-3-0 up.
Aubameyang's probably
got the goals.
Right.
So for me, that wouldn't necessarily be an issue. It's more of an issue with Liverpool because if you're 2-3-0 up, it's probably Salah rather than Firmino.
That's true.
Whereas for Arsenal, he might not necessarily have got them all, but you know what I mean.
So Rivershan is saying, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Aubameyang will outscore Lukaku over these 2 game weeks. Yes or no?
Do you think so?
What do you think? Yes or no?
I don't know, and this is where I am. This is my pondering.
Forget the double. 32, 33. Aubameyang or Lukaku?
I think I'm going to go Aubameyang for 32 and 33, and then at the end of 33,
I'm going to Aubameyang, isn't it? Gonna Stoke and Southampton.
I think so, but then United have got Swansea. They've been a bit better lately, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with Aubameyang for 32 and 33, and then at the end of 33, I'm going to assess what I do about United because this leads us into talking about strategy, I guess, because I've got to decide where my triple captain goes and where my bench boost goes. Now, I had decided that I was going to bench boost in 34 and I was going to triple captain Kane in 37. But
it's all changed.
Well, it hasn't quite all changed, but at the moment I've got of my players, I've got 7 on doubles currently, and for my current team, I've got 7 on doubles for 34.
Okay.
And I've got 9 on doubles for 37.
I totally get where you're coming from in terms of looking forward to 37. We're in game week 32.
No,
we're 5 weeks away from that. Anything can happen.
Oh, I know it could, but I have to think about where those chips are going. So which order they're going in.
Yeah, sure.
So it may very well change again. So my current strategy, I think, is still to triple captain Kane in 37 because can't overlook 2 games against West Brom and Newcastle.
Do you not fancy Lukaku then for the triple captain in 34 with those 2 nice fixtures, and then a bench boost in 37? Because 37 is arguably as good as 34 now.
I think actually 37 is arguably better than 30 because there's more double game weeks in 37 than there are in 34.
And those 2 fixtures, and I know they will have won the league by then, but those 2 fixtures for City in 37, if you can pick the right City players, you can have a field day, couldn't you? You could pick a Kevin De Bruyne or somebody, or a Jesus who's getting ready for the World Cup.
And so what you've just said is exactly why I'm still a bit up in the air about it. Because so what I'm trying to do is work out how many people that I can get on doubles for 34 without compromising 32 and 33.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got
to have a good wildcard team that allows me to do well in 32 and 33 with 2 free transfers to get where I want to be for 34.
Got it. Okay, I got it.
Do you see where I am?
I do.
So this is why. So ideally, what I want to do is play my triple captain in 34 now. But I think you're right. The only real option is Lukaku for that.
Jesse Lingard.
Are you joking?
Listen, I think he's good value, and in those 2 United games, game time is an issue. I understand that, but of all the United midfielders, you tell me another United midfielder that's on better form than Lingard over the last couple of months.
And I tell you what my other thinking is. Of course.
We've got to wrap this up reasonably soon.
Okay,
so.
But Spurs also have a double in 34. I really would like to put my triple captain on a Spurs player because it's me. Now, we've got City.
I'm going to bring your team up just while you're talking about
We've got City and Brighton. Now, the Brighton game is fine. I happily triple captain a Spurs player for a Brighton game. The City game is a totally different ball game because it all depends, doesn't it, what's happened in 32 and 33.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Because if they've won the league...
By the way, I've just noticed you've got Alonso third sub. I assume this is going to change even the setup.
Oh, I haven't even thought about.
Right, good. Good.
I haven't yet thought about.
I'm thinking that's a good bench right there. Right, that's very, very good.
I haven't yet considered who's going where for 32.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
They just go in as people go out. So they change all the time.
So Vinyl Richie's taking the mick out of me. Had to stretch through the last couple of months with J-Lings. You have to. Right? I think you go back to. There was a period of time when J-Lings was the hottest thing in FPL, and then he was the coldest thing in FPL. I wonder whether he's just kind of warm right now. I think he's warm. I don't think he's hot, but he's warm. And in that 34, there'll be a lot of people that won't want to go back to J-Lings because of him burning them in the past. But I think he could be a nice pick for 34. I don't think he's a better pick than Lukaku. Well, maybe because...
I think you should now, just for the banter.
Well, maybe, and I'll tell you why. Because I talked before about Aubameyang being the bank. Well, Aubameyang is my bank for Lukaku in 34. However, if Harry Kane comes back, I want Kane. So maybe Aubameyang is my bank for Kane. In that case, I've got no United forward attacking coverage for 34, and I definitely want somebody. Can I get Lukaku and Kane? Well, I've got no chance of that. So really... you then go to like Lingard, don't you, and people like that. So potentially, and you forget that my midfield is full of, there's some iffy players in there, to say the least. I think it's not looking too bad at the moment, but I could fit Jay Lings in there, I think. Miljokovic to Jay Lings, potentially. Who knows? But listen, we've got to wrap this up, guys, because we try and do it within the hour, as you guys know, and we are already over time, and we haven't talked about this game week, who you're going to captain. We're not going to talk about transfers, because you've already talked about all the transfers you've done, as well as you've got more to come. My transfers for this game, because I'm non-wildcarder, I've done Kane out for Aubameyang, and I've done Shaqiri up to Mahrez, and I'm also considering a -4 for De Gea. Now, I would want De Gea for that double game week anyway, in 34, and I probably would end up taking a hit for him in 34. So I'm thinking about taking the hit now, because I fancy him to get a clean sheet at home to Swansea.
Keepers?
Oh, don't go there. I've got Foster and McCarthy.
So which one would you lose? McCarthy?
I haven't really considered that yet, but it depends who's
got
not
doubles.
got doubles and stuff, right? But right now, De Gea looks like he might be coming in for a -4 for me. But I'm happy with Mahrez. I think he is a very, very good player for the next 2 game weeks.
I like that we've got the wrong Leicester players.
Vardy versus
nice.
Mahrez. Well, that Brighton game now suddenly is a very interesting game, isn't it? And Aubameyang, I think, is just, you can't... I just think he looks great for the next two. Stoke and Southampton at home. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that in terms of back-to-back fixtures. What I do with him in 34 then is up for debate. I've got my 3 Liverpool players. I'm keeping those guys for a bit until we get to 34 when we've got the single. Even then, it's Bournemouth at home. It seems a bit, ridiculous to get rid of them. But
I think it all depends. It all depends what happens in that Champions League semi-final.
It does. There's lots that's going to happen in the Champions League game that really could affect our thinking around FPL.
City and Liverpool game is so important.
Absolutely. So that's my transfer for this week. Captain is a very interesting one. I think it's Salah, right? I think it's Salah. What do you think? Are you thinking anybody else?
No, I think it's...
Aubameyang, Stoke at home. We've all brought him in. All keep talking about how great his fixtures are.
Oh, yeah, but...
Don't fancy him? It is Salah, isn't it?
Salah.
I get it.
I also quite like... and this is a ridiculous comment, but I quite like watching them. My captain, I quite enjoy that. I can watch Salah playing on Saturday lunchtime. Actually, is the Arsenal game on? Don't know.
Arsenal game is. It's on the evening. I think so.
So I could watch
Lukaku captain, as Andy Golf Pro is saying here. Lukaku home to Swansea.
Well, no, I think I have decided in my mind that Lukaku is a potential transfer for pre-34.
For 34, okay. You're not getting in for 32.
No, I'm going to stick with Aubameyang for 32. Okay. But obviously, I think what will probably happen actually is I get Kane because I think he's going to be fit.
Okay. A lot of people saying, just a very quick point here, and I agree with them. MU Fan TV is saying you've got Foster still. I don't know if you've considered who your second goalkeeper might be, but Ryan at Brighton is a very, very good option.
Yeah, so I have looked.
I think that's not a bad shout at all from MU Fan TV then.
And I have looked at Ryan at Brighton. He's a little bit more expensive, and I've got naught exactly in the bank.
Especially when you do the bench boost and he gets points anyway. I think that's a nice shout.
I think I totally agree with you. I've just got to work out how to get him. Who do I downgrade in order to have him? But yeah, I think you're totally right.
Another good comment by Prashant. So thanks for joining tonight, Prashant. Lee, Palace have been Liverpool's bogey team. Don't remind me about that. Oh, still have nightmares about that game.
I forgot about that.
Still have nightmares about that game when Dwight Gale scored and we cost us the league. I still can't blame it on Stevie G's slip. It was definitely the Palace game. They are a little bit of a bogey team for us, but we are. I mean, Liverpool are in really, really good form right now, and it's a brave FPL manager that doesn't captain Salah this game week, in my opinion. It's got to be pretty brave. There's some very good options. So Aubameyang is a good option. Lukaku's a good option. I also fancy, and I said it before, that Brighton and Leicester game. I do fancy goals in that game. I do fancy Brighton to come forward at home, and I do fancy Vardy therefore to get something on the break. Would I captain Vardy? No, I don't think so, but I do fancy him for points. So there's a lot of good captain picks this game week, but I will be going Salah. What about you?
I think I'm going Salah too, yeah.
Salah too, okay.
I think so.
What about, so top points picks, I think I've just, out of those 4 names, picked one of those. I think the top points pick is kind of becoming a bit irrelevant with Salah being a bit of a freak of FPL. You could just go for him every week, couldn't you? But I do fancy Vardy and I do fancy Mahrez for some points in that game. And clearly, obviously, the Arsenal game against a pretty bad... I mean, Stoke don't travel well at all, do they? So there's very good options there with Aubameyang and Ozil and people like that. If he's fit, I don't even know if Ozil's fit, to be honest.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I hadn't even considered Ozil in my wildcard.
Yeah, that's a sort of game. It's a sort of game where Arsenal could be 2 or 3 up and suddenly he turns up. You know what Ozil's like in the games where he's a flat track bully.
But it's going to rain all weekend, so he probably won't.
Goodness me.
You don't like the rain?
Young Spurs goggles come on very quickly, don't they?
Well, no, that was just about Ozil. That wasn't about the rest of us.
Right,
just
okay,
Ozil doesn't like the rain.
Very good. So I'd like to talk about jammy picks then. A nice differential pick for the weekend. Go on then.
Yeah, so it is... we're getting to that stage of the season where it's hard to pick one that's under 5% that I haven't already had. So for our friend Joe, we're going for a Watford player this week.
Oh, Mr. Finley Banner, we're very pleased with you. Go on then.
Given that Watford have only lost one of their last 16 home matches against Bournemouth, and that defeat was back in 1997.
Oh, well,
so we won't worry too much about that defeat.
Would they have actually played each other many times in that time period?
16.
Oh,
home matches since 1997.
Okay, very good. Who am I to question your stat?
Don't question my stat. And they have never lost at home to Bournemouth under Garcia.
Okay, very good.
And so I'm going for Troy Deeney again.
Troy Deeney again.
Last time I had him as a jammy pick.
Is he under 5% still?
Yeah, 1.2.
Okay.
Last time I had him as a jammy pick, he did indeed score a goal.
Yes, I think you did call him out, and I think it was a good pick. So Deeney, okay, we'll go with that.
When we were in Dubai.
We'll go with that. And you guys are all, look at the guys all shouting, polls, do the polls, Jamal, polls, Tom Mason, polls.
Do you know, he's actually got his phone out and he's looking at the polls.
I will definitely do the polls, guys, don't worry about that. I like, you mentioned him before, he's in your team, is Kiedo.
I don't mention him because I can't say his name.
You can't mention his name, so he's not a jammy pick. I like him. I
don't think he's under, I'm not sure, actually I think he is under, I think he is actually, yeah.
Got
I think
to
he
be.
is.
I like him as a pick, I like that.
But against Leicester, I just don't know. I think Watford are more likely to beat Bournemouth than...
I just think there's goals in that Brighton Leicester game, and Izquierdo could get something. I've said, how many times have I said there's goals in that game? That is 0-0.
It's going to be 0-0. Definitely going to be 0-0.
Stick Ryan in goal over David De Gea. It's 0-0. Right, polls, guys. Before we wrap it up, wildcarders. How are you feeling, wildcarders? 21% of you are saying.
Voted.
I voted on your behalf because I assumed you would say nailing it.
Oh, I'm not sure I would actually.
So if you haven't voted in the polls, go up in the top right hand corner. Have a look at the polls. Wildcarders, how you feeling? 21% nailing it. 47% feeling okay, 18% feeling nervous, and 13% panicking big time. So most wildcarders feeling okay about things, but you never know, do you?
I think I'm in that.
Wild card, you go into it, you're hoping for points, but you never quite know.
I think I'm in the nervous category, to be honest.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
So non-wildcarders, how are you feeling? I would put myself in the nervous bracket because I think there's a lot of nice template teams going on right now, and I feel like I've got a very non-template team, which could work for me big time, but could crash and burn. 17% of non-wildcarders saying they're nailing it. You guys, fair play if you think you're nailing that wildcard. I applaud you. 34% okay, 20% nervous, 27% panic. 27% panic.
Can I just say, have we still 72 people are still watching us talk nonsense? You guys are amazing.
Whoa. I think it's been quite good tonight. It's been quite good. You've had some good insight. You've got your notes down. You've tried to pronounce his Kiedo 7 times. It's been quite good, I think.
Is Kiedo.
There you are. Brilliant.
So I've learned in the last hour and 16 minutes, what I have learned is how to say.
I can't wait for a day where you've got Miliojovic, Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang and Izquierdo. I can't wait for it.
I've got Millie, Izzy and Aubameyang.
Millie and Izzy. Millie and Izzy. Brilliant. Right, guys, I think on that ridiculous note of pronouncing names.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. And we've got something like 900 subs now. We're up to like 900 really? Or we're at 89 something. So we're doing great on subs, guys. We really appreciate you guys subbing and hitting that like button. So if you do like our videos, match that like button, hit the subscribe button.
We haven't got that many game weeks left now.
Do you know what? It's coming to an end. And actually, some of the guys were saying, are we going to do videos throughout the World Cup to look at kind of potential FPL picks for next year? I don't know. TBC, guys.
We did even suggest that because we actually have a bit of a child-free moment on Saturday afternoon that we come live during the 3 o'clock.
Oh, right. So I purposely did not mention this because if now you've mentioned it, we've got to mention it. But the guys will... Oh, Sean Tan, new subscriber. And I think subscriber number 900. So, Sean, thank you for subscribing. That is awesome. What you've mentioned is that we have got no children on Saturday. For a little bit on Saturday afternoon, the time that the games kick off. Now, there is a potential that we spend that time doing a live stream during the 3 o'clock games, which you guys have asked for before. I've said that would be quite a cool thing to do. You were like, I'm not sure, should we go and do something romantic because we haven't got the kids? And I'm like, no, FPL family.
It's date night. So we could.
I know it's date night, but we're going to watch Black Panther, aren't we, at the weekend? But 3 o'clock when the games are on, come on. We'll think about it, guys.
We're thinking about it. We might do a little one during the first half. We could compromise on that.
If you want to see us live stream during those 3 o'clock games and react kind of live to some of the FPL goings on, get onto @FPLFamily on Twitter, @FPLFamily on Instagram.
It's not you that need to persuade, though, is it?
It's not me that you need to persuade. So you do need to get onto @FPLFamily on Instagram and go and badger Sam to go and do that. I think that would be quite good fun. I do think that'd be quite good fun. It's Brighton and Leicester 3 o'clock, isn't it? So it's Vardy versus Mahrez 3 o'clock.
So I think it would be fun. Yeah, I do agree. But it's the fact that Liverpool and Spurs aren't playing. You're not really going to get much of a reaction from us, are you?
Hey, look, listen. I actually obviously I get quite emotional at Liverpool games, but FPL, that's the beauty of FPL, is it not? That we're suddenly really interested in Brighton versus Leicester on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that is true.
When else would you be interested in that other than when you've got Vardy and I've got Mahrez? That's the beauty of FPL. That's why we love it. And that's why I've missed doing these streams. It's been a very, very long couple of weeks, hasn't it? But we are pleased to be back.
I think we will do some stuff during the pre-season, definitely, while the World Cup is on, for sure.
Very good, very good. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining us. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe. I will see you over on Twitter @FPLFamily. Sam will see you over on Instagram on @FPLFamily.
If anybody wants to come and help me with my wildcard, please feel free.
Go and help Sam with their wildcard. We will see you on Sunday night when we will be reacting to Game Week 32. I guess a lot of the vlogs between now and
Easter
the end of the
Sunday.
season are going to be... Oh, because it's this Sunday, yeah. So maybe it's...
Or will we? Because it's also April Fool's Day, so you never know. We might not.
Will we vlog? Will we not? Don't know. It could be Monday then if it's not Easter Sunday. But either way,
no, we can do Easter Sunday. No, we will.
Okay, all right. So we'll try and do Easter Sunday. What I was going to say was that between now and the end of the season, I guess we're going to be filling these vlogs with a lot of strategic content. You know, when the chip's being played, all the rest of it. We covered a lot of that tonight. I was going to say we'll try not to cover too much of that. We'll try and react to Game Week 32 on Sunday, but who am I kidding?
No, I think
all
Sunday
this strategic stuff is too interesting, isn't it?
Because we'll come back again, won't we, midweek, where we can start doing more strategy for 33.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think Sunday will just be a review of 32. We'll go back to...
You won't be able to help talking about bench boost, triple captain, now your wild card's gone, all that sort of stuff. We're going to be talking about the chips.
No, I won't mention it. I won't mention the chips.
Okay, so you're going to see us on Sunday. If Mahrez gets a hat-trick and Vardy gets sent off, that will be absolutely delightful. We will see you on Sunday. Guys, thank you for joining. See you soon. Cheers.
See you later, guys.